Hey there, YouTube. We're going to jump into our Supreme Court of the United States news. Good old SCOTUS. It's not that good, yeah? We were just talking about Debbie Does Dallas. I think I'd rather go to the dentist than cover this information because it's just like, it's depressing. It's depressing. Like, the right wing are winning, okay? The fascists are winning. Trump was able to install 3 Supreme Court justices because of the weakness of the neoliberals, right? Ruth Bader Ginsburg should have stepped down in the Obama era. Obama should have pressured her to do so. Obama should have appointed a Supreme Court justice when he had a chance instead of letting Mitch McConnell pretend, oh, it's too close to the election. We got to do everything we can. No. Barack Obama allowed the right wing, the neoliberals allowed the right wing to use procedural delays and nonsense to prevent, right, the court from being completely lopsided. And this is what we have now. L after L after L for democracy, for liberty, coming out of the Supreme Court. Right? We lose abortion rights. Now businesses can discriminate based off anything, like literally back to Jim Crow era. I don't like that you have sex with a man. I'm not going to build your whatever the fuck, right? Your website, your cake, whatever. I'm not going to provide you with services, right? And then vice versa, we see the left saying, oh, well, then fine. If I can discriminate, then you're not allowed to be a Christian. You're not allowed to be a Republican. You know, you're not allowed to have a MAGA hat in my store. You're not allowed to, you know. We have a Supreme Court that is an enemy of free speech and an enemy of democracy, and quite frankly, bought. These people, especially the right wingers, but let's not count out the left wingers either. This Supreme Court is bought. It is not a respected, independent, final word of justice. The final word for the interpretation of the Constitution. Let's get into it. I just want to wrap my lips around a Roblox. And then we're going to get all the bad actors defending this, basically defending discrimination. Like that's going to make us stronger as a country. That's going to make us better as a union. We're just going to legalize discrimination of all different kinds. Oh, you're black and you don't worship Jesus. Get out of my store. Really? This is where we're at now. And look, these people don't even believe it, right? You think these right-wingers believe any of this shit? Clarence Thomas, there's a quote from Clarence Thomas in 1983 talking about how he says affirmative action saved his life. Well, you fucking ramen-haired noodle jackass, we're about to get into it. So why don't you stick around, you fucking zoomer? Why don't you put the fucking phone down for 5 fucking seconds and pay the fuck attention while we actually learn something? Looking like motherfucking Justin Timberlake right after a fresh perm over there. Are you like representing yourself like this? You look like you have a fucking bowl of macaroni and cheese on top of your head, homie. Is that you?
In ruling after ruling, the conservatives on this court have worked to turn back the clock on the rights of disenfranchised citizens in this country.
You looking like an actual clown. You got motherfucking clown colors and a ramen noodle macaroni head, homie. Stop giving other people advice.
Let's go down the list from abortion
Holy
rights
shit.
to voting rights
to
the right
bowl of mac and
to
cheese,
a fair and affordable education to the right to openly express your sexual orientation, even gender identity.
I'm
this
a
court has made its central mission to undo progress
you walking around
wherever it sees it.
With that motherfucking top
We're
of
going
hair.
to talk about all of those decisions.
You better be expecting criticism.
But I want to start tonight with the big picture. How does America deal with a reactionary core dead set on turning back the clock? And what, if anything, can be done to stop it? Joining us now is Melissa Murray, NYU law professor and co-host of the Strict Scrutiny podcast. She's also an MSNBC contributor. Also with us is Mark Joseph Stern, senior writer at Slate, covering the courts and law. So, Melissa, I'll start with you. I mean, just kind of the big picture takeaway of what we saw.
Yo, what happened to Velveeta? It tastes like shit now. I agree. I used to really like that shit when I was a kid. I can't eat that shit when I'm an adult. I thought it was like petroleum products. Yeah, I thought it was like, I thought it was just my adult palate getting older. Has it gotten worse?
Unfold today.
Oh, dude, fusilli is really good. You're kind of right, Zeoduke. Shells are, I like them all, man. Just give me a whole bowl of pasta, bro. That looks just like this clown's head.
People on the surface may think of these cases being very different on the issues that they tackled, even if they are hypothetical, as we said with Chris there. But there is a connective tissue between all of them, as I was just kind of outlining there. Do you see that?
Okay, folks, here's a fact. Chem Goblin has ramen noodle hair. That I have never seen a picture of Chem Goblin, but he has ramen noodle hair. It's okay, Chem Goblin. It's okay, buddy. You're one of the good ones. You're one of the good ones. It's okay, Chem Goblin. I'm racist to ramen noodle hair people, but you're one of the good ones. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Man, every time I make fun of ramen noodle hair people, you're like, oh, that's not nice. Exactly, the Chad Krogers. Chem Goblin. That's not very nice.
That as well, that there is a common theme between all of these cases?
I think there's a common theme between the cases we saw this term and the cases we saw last term, especially Dobbs. Basically, we are seeing the court roll back the protections that make it possible and indeed facilitate the prospect of a multiracial, multi-ethnic democracy, education, reproductive rights, financial security, all of these things that we need in order to have a democracy that is inclusive and includes everyone. And that seems to be the thing the court is railing against. And to be very clear, we had a barn burner of a term last year, and typically the rhythms of the Supreme Court are such that
when
you have a big one, you take a breather.
Right.
But no, they had a barn burner of a term this year. It looks like they're shaping up to have a barn burner.
Yeah, it's almost like they feel like they're under a deadline where if they don't do these things before democracy catches up to them, that they might not be able to achieve their radical agenda. Right? It's almost like they're in a big hurry to achieve their radical right-wing agenda. Why is that? Why is that?
Of a term next year. And the question I think the American people has to ask at this point is, how many barns are there left to burn, or is this court just intent on burning it all down?
Yeah, and to that point, I mean...
Really? Is that what... MSNBC is really bad at this, guys.
This is, Mark, the Roberts Court, right? So I guess my question to you is the legacy of the Roberts Court now going to be about undoing...
Thank you. What the fuck is this, dude? Is the legacy of the Roberts Court going to be bad now? Okay, I'm so sorry I queued this up. MSNBC is fucking garbage. Moving on, I wanted to start off this discussion of affirmative action immediately by listening to people who know what they're talking about, because the bad actors, we've already seen, fucking ramen noodle hair over here. That's not what it means. That's not what it means. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. It's good to discriminate. We should be able to discriminate against gay people. I don't want to make a gay wedding cake. Did you know that the person who started this, see what I mean? You didn't study law. You didn't study law. Where's the dislike button? So how about, yeah, sure. I cannot look at this guy's icon without hearing circus music. Are you like a clown fan? Are you like a clown, like you're like one of those clown people? You think clowns are cool? I mean, that's fine. Some people think clowns are creepy. Some people are like clowning. It's called clowning. Are you like a clown, like an actual clowny clown? Anyway, so yeah, let's stop listening to me. Let's listen to the experts here. Well, this is on affirmative action. But this is, this is related. This, of course, this is related. But hey, here we go. Let's watch this 8-minute breakdown because look, affirmative action is a very touchy subject, right? Because there's actually a lot of really good arguments for and a lot of really good arguments against. And when affirmative action is effective is when it's making up for a deficiency somewhere along in the system, right? That systemic racism that right-wingers claim doesn't exist, right? That's where affirmative action is very effective, where it can make up for those deficiencies. of course, the alternative, the argument against affirmative action is that it elevates a certain people above other people because of their race, right? So, that's a really good argument. Well, should we end affirmative action? Well, no. Maybe we need to reform it. Maybe it needs to change so that it's more effective. But the idea of affirmative action is not actually a racist idea, which is what the people who say we should end affirmative action say. They say it's racist. It's policy based off race. How can it not be racist, right? Well, if we lived in a perfect society where black people weren't brought into this country as slaves and then treated as second-class citizens through Jim Crow, and then it continued to be treated by second-class citizens through the system, maybe you would be right? But that's not the case. Systemic racism does exist. Things like CRT are actually necessary. We need critical race theory to understand how to tackle systemic racism, how to identify it, and how to fix it, right? Because, it isn't very effective to just piss in the wind and say, well, it's all racism. Okay, how, where, when, how do we fix it? Oh, we just end racism. Okay, yeah, well, I'll just end fucking, you know what I mean? I'll just snap my goddamn bewitched fingers and make it happen, right? Well, how are we going to actually fix it? That's why CRT is such a really cool thing, right? It's an analysis of how that works and how we can go after it. Anyway, let's get into it here. I'm sure the cheesiest one, the motherfucking cheese master over here, wants to know more.
For more than 50 years, colleges have taken different approaches towards admissions to make their campuses more diverse. Considering an applicant's race, generally called affirmative action, has long been standard at universities from UPenn to Harvard, but not anymore. The Supreme Court has ruled that no college in the US can consider an applicant's race in admissions. 9 states have already banned this practice.
And that sounds like, well, what's wrong with that, right? Why in the world would we create any policy based off the color of a person's skin? That sounds inherently racist.
California did almost 25 years ago. Just enough time for a detailed study on its consequences.
Once you have the data set in hand, there's an awful lot you can learn, honestly, pretty quickly, right? Basically, what I'm doing is just differences in means. What happened to the kids after 98? What happened to the kids before 98? Just those comparisons tell you an awful lot about not just what happened in California, but I think what we can expect to happen across the country.
Here's how affirmative action changed college admissions and what the future of higher education might look like without it. Before affirmative action, selecting which of these...
Woke Patriot is talking about the case that has created this situation, this webmaster that doesn't make websites, that doesn't... She maybe one day wanted to make a website. The entire case is literally based off a set of hypotheticals about, well, if I wanted to start a business and if I wanted to make websites and then someone asked me to make a gay website, that would be against my religion. So it's like literally the conservative style of painting a target on yourself and calling yourself the victim. And then it was shopped around because they look for these cases, like, okay, or they'll make up a case. Oh, yep, and our conservative Supreme Court said this is the most important case we need to listen to. It's just a coincidence, folks.
These student applicants would be accepted was fairly simple. Most colleges would essentially filter students. They'd set factors like a minimum GPA or a minimum test score, and voila, there's your pool of accepted students. Obviously, the more selective the school, the higher those standards were. But
a big part of both test scores and grades are pre-18 educational investment and, honestly, non-educational investment. The degree to which you had a stable household, the degree to which you had some notion of being able to focus on your work. The better a high school you go to, the better the test score you get.
That's a
the
fact.
Better sort of access to resources outside of high school, like tutoring or other services, that you had access to before 18, the better you test.
It's clear if you break down SAT scores by the background of the student. Students from higher income households score
This is how inequality is affecting this real world situation. It's real.
Higher. Same if you look at who grew up in a household with a parent with a graduate degree versus no degree. That also reflects in race.
It is
with
a
Black and
Band-Aid,
Hispanic
CO2.
students scoring lower than white and Asian students. So in the 1970s, when UC Berkeley's admissions really just looked at GPA and test scores, the student population was less than 5% Black and Hispanic.
Students who might have been really high ability just weren't able to get the kind of education that would lead them to the kind of high standardized tests that would get them into a school like Berkeley. These schools recognized that they needed some way of admitting those students, and so they started affirmative action policies to try to bring in students from sort of every part of, in this case, the state of California.
So in the 80s, they began considering race in their admissions decisions. It worked. By the 90s, they would chart students on a social diversity index. If you were low income and a minority and had moderate grades and test scores, you were in. If you were high income and white, you needed higher scores to get in. Some colleges, like the UC Davis School of Medicine,
and this is why I call it a Band-Aid solution, because it even though it makes sense because of the numbers, the reality of it, it's still, as a person who believes in equality, believes in liberty, right? Like I would prefer, like what Zio Duke is saying here, right? Like I would prefer to live in a world where we didn't have to do this kind of stuff, right? But it isn't overcompensating though, because look, if it's more complicated, right now it's probably more complicated to fix systemic racism, to fix systemic inequality than it is, right, to make up for it, right? So while we're trying to create our utopia, this is a mechanism we can use to make up for some of the deficiencies that we have in our society. That, I mean, these are talented folks, all right? It doesn't matter their skin color. These are very talented folks. These could be doctors, lawyers, huge benefits to our society and culture, not given the opportunities that they need to succeed. And, and maybe they don't make that, to that career because they just didn't have the opportunities to do so.
To get in. Some colleges, like the UC Davis School of Medicine, used quotas, utilizing a similar filtering system, but a few spots would be reserved for minority applicants. In the late 70s, a white student named Backey fell here. Not good enough to get in among other white applicants, but with higher test scores and GPA than the minority students who got in. He sued, claiming discrimination. It made it to the Supreme Court, he won, and was admitted. The court ruled that while the goal of achieving a diverse student body is sufficiently compelling to justify consideration of race in admissions decisions, specific quotas went too far. More than 24 Supreme Court cases have followed, including the landmark Grutter v. Bollinger in 2003, which upheld that race could be considered as part of a highly individualized, holistic review of each applicant's file. That's essentially how affirmative action has worked the last 20 years. Instead of just filtering a pool of applicants, most colleges look at each person individually. Like Harvard will look at SAT and GPA, but also things like extracurricular activities, essays, awards, life experiences, recommendations, leadership, and yes, race.
Oh. So that's why they make you, when you're doing the college admissions, they make you do these ridiculous, like you got to give them your fucking life story, right? Cover letter and all this shit. So that's probably why they do that then.
This is exactly what the Supreme Court has now struck down. In two separate cases against Harvard and the University of North Carolina, plaintiffs argued this holistic approach was just a cover for discrimination against white and Asian students. The Supreme Court agreed, ruling that eliminating racial discrimination means eliminating all of it. The student must be treated based on his or her experiences as an individual.
But the society doesn't treat that student, that one student got to start halfway up the ladder and another student got to start at the very bottom. So they're not being treated the same by society, but they're expected to have the same skills and ability. It's supposed to be a meritocracy, right? But they're not given the same training. This is like, if you want to use a comparison to something more understandable, like in the Hunger Games, right? Where some of the regions or sectors would send kids that are fully trained and like ready to go and are like, guerrilla warriors, and others, because they couldn't afford those amenities, they just send kids untrained, right? So it's not very fair. It's not a very fair meritocracy.
Not on the basis of race. Many universities have for too long done just the opposite, which means in this holistic review, race can no longer be considered.
To the degree that these universities want to maintain their current level of racial diversity, California has shown
that just means everything's going to be more white. It's going to be more white and more rich, right? Because we haven't fixed the systemic racism. We haven't fixed that.
That is infeasible, at least given the policies that California has tried to implement.
In the 90s, Californians voted for Proposition 209, which banned public universities from considering race. Zach Bleemer conducted a massive study in California, following students that applied before and after Prop 209, looking at where they eventually enrolled, graduated, and then...
To the people that are mad at me for banning that individual, am I actually supposed to let people just sit here and abuse me in my chat? Is that how it's supposed to work?
At their wage statements.
So you can see, so long as they stay in the state of California...
It's not like he's making fun of my hair that looks like a bowl of noodles.
Where they work and how much they earn all the way through 2020, 25 years almost after the affirmative action ban was implemented.
What he found was that Black and Hispanic enrollments at more selective schools, like Berkeley, dramatically fell when they couldn't include race in their admissions process. Moderately selective schools had almost no change, but enrollment at less selective schools actually rose. Because most Black and Hispanic students didn't not go to college, they just went to less esteemed ones.
You got this cascade effect of Black and Hispanic students, on average, enrolling at a university that's just a little bit less selective than the universities they used to have access to. Kids who used to go to Berkeley are now going to UC Davis. Kids who used to go to UC Davis are now going to UC Santa Cruz. What happened is pretty substantial negative ramifications for these students.
They became less likely to earn STEM degrees.
So if the idea of removing affirmative action or race-based affirmative action is supposed to make education, society more equal, why is it not? Right? And that's ultimately why I agree with affirmative action until society makes affirmative action irrelevant. Because if we're not going to fix the systemic issues in our society, we do need some way to make up for this deficiency, or else we're having extremely talented people not get the opportunities that they need to make our society better. That's bad for me. That's bad for my future. That's bad for my kids. You think I want a bunch of fucking morons running around? Or do I want a bunch of highly trained professionals given every opportunity that they need to succeed?
Less likely to go to...
We're not talking about bums. We're talking about college kids. We're talking about the potential to turn someone into a real professional for the rest of their life. College education, you know how valuable that is? What a person can achieve with that?
Graduate school. Those with the lowest GPA and test scores became less likely to even graduate. And overall, Black and Hispanic students earned less in their careers than those admitted before Prop 209.
Well, and the racists come in and they say, well, that's because they're Black or they're Hispanic or they don't want to work as hard or they're blah, blah, blah. It's their race that's the problem. It's the culture. They don't have dads. The fuck it is. The fuck it is. Because when a person of color is given the same opportunities as a white person, they perform similar or better or whatever, right? They're on that even playing field.
One thing we've learned from affirmative action bans is that the kids who are admitted to more selective universities as a result of race-based affirmative action tend to receive...
Well, Zeoduke, you would have a salient argument if they were judging people solely off their race, but they're not. As we see here, it's a myriad of things. Their life experiences, their grades, right? All these different things. So I'm sure life experiences would cover, are you, a rich person?
Bans is that the kids who are admitted to more selective universities as a result of race-based affirmative action tend to receive greater value from those institutions in terms of the degree to which those institutions lead them to more successful jobs or more success generally in the labor market than the white or Asian students who tend to take their places after the end of affirmative action programs.
Bleemer has also studied the effects of what's called race-neutral admissions policies, which can include outreach and income-based admissions, as has Georgetown University. They both found the same result.
It seems like all of these race-neutral alternatives that universities can implement have a tendency toward increasing the diversity of campuses, but they don't get you anywhere close to the level of racial diversity that's provided by race-based affirmative action.
Harvard said if it were to not include race in their holistic review, Black and Hispanic enrollment will decline by almost half. Berkeley, even though it has made strides since Prop 209 to enroll more Hispanic students, the Black student population is still below where it was when it could consider race in admissions.
And I wanted to, once again, it is racist. It is racist to think that they are underperforming because of their race. There are other factors outside of the fucking color of their skin that are affecting their performance after affirmative action is removed. So stop with your, if anyone in here is, trying to think like, oh, well, just maybe black people are just stupider. Really? Could it maybe be a couple other factors?
I think we'll see declines in Black and Hispanic enrollment, potentially in some cases quite severe declines in the next couple of years. And as a result, you're going to have this sort of downward shift, Black and Hispanic students enrolling at less selective schools than they had access to previously. There's no clear silver bullet for such universities just to maintain diversity as it is right now.
Right. So look, Zio Duke, you were asking some questions that were actually answered in this video. So I understand I was pausing it, interrupting, and talking over it. So if you want to see the whole video right there, there's the link. Go ahead and check it out for yourself. This is very complicated. Obviously, I'm not a fucking legal scholar, as Mr. Macaroni likes to point out. But I think I have a pretty clear understanding that there are inequities in society. And until we fix those inequities, we do need mechanisms to make up for those deficiencies. And I do think affirmative action is one of those tools we can use. At the same time, right, it is one of those really strange things where it's like it's a race-based rule, race-based policy. It does technically give you an advantage codified into law because of your race. But then we go back to systemic racism where you win the racial lottery, right? I was born white. Yay, good for me. Yay, I did it. Yay, I did it. Right? Good. Well, that's really great for me. I don't have control over that. All right, so let's move on here. So Joe Biden, thank you, by the way, Woke Patriot, for this link. Joe Biden, uncharacteristically, I got to say, I was not expecting this from Joe Biden. I was expecting Joe Biden to quietly, take a fucking nap. That progressive agenda that I care so much about getting shit on once again, just like Build Back Better. I pretended so much to care and now I don't. So he's actually come out and said, okay, well, I disagree with the court's ruling. I think the court is biased, actually criticizing the Supreme Court, and then coming out with, okay, well, if we're not going to do that, then we're going to do some executive actions. Here's a list of them right here. These actions reflect the president's belief that an education beyond high school should be, blah, 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 like all the flowery neoliberal language. Secured the largest increase in Pell Grants in a decade. Oh, wait. Okay. The debt relief as many borrowers. Remains committed. Lowering monthly. Okay. Here we go. Got to go halfway down the page to get to the fucking specifics. Could they, you know what? People aren't readers anymore. Neoliberals. Let's make this easier for the fucking, Kardashian crowd to pick up on, huh? All right. Specifically, the plan will... Wait. Okay, yeah. So the Biden-Harris administration today also finalized the most affordable repayment plan ever created, called the Saving on a Valuable Education Save Plan. My God, they're so bad at this. They're really kind of bad at this. Okay. Saving on a Valuable Education. Save. All right. This income-driven repayment plan will cut borrowers' monthly payments in half, allow many borrowers to make zero monthly payments, save all other borrowers at least $1,000 per year, and ensure borrowers don't see their balances grow from unpaid interest. Ooh, that's cool. Specifically, applying remedies, will they take my race into account? You'd have to ask them specifically. This new SCOTUS ruling changes things. So yeah, you might want to reach out to them and see specifically what is changing for that university. Specifically, the plan will, for undergraduate loans, cut in half the amount that borrowers, I keep saying it wrong, borrowers have to pay each month from 10% to 5% of discretionary income. Not bad. That's something. Biden can't afford to not do something, okay? As much as the youth don't vote, You can't just fucking cut them out. Not after promising this. You got to give them something. Raise the amount of income that is considered non-discretionary income and therefore is protected from repayment, guaranteeing that no borrower earning under 225% of the federal poverty level. How is that possible? About the annual equivalent of $15 minimum wage for a single borrower will have to make a monthly payment under this plan. I'd have to read that 6 times to actually get it. Forgive loan balances after 10 years of payments instead of 20 years. Nice. Oh, wow. Okay, so forgive loan balances after 10 years of payments instead of 20 years. Yeah, that's all right. So if you've been, if you have like a $200,000 college bill and you've been paying it off for 10 years, you'll be considered, hey, let's give this guy a break so he can actually start his life. For borrowers with original loan balances, of $1,200 or less. What? So a trip to the bookstore? Fucking neoliberals. $1,200? If you can't pay off $1,200 in 10 fucking years, then what the fuck did you go to college for, dude? What'd you go to college to what? Cut hot dogs? I mean, what the fuck, man? $1,200 or less. What a flying fucking insult. We got students with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. $1,200 or less. We'll just give you a break there. Sorry, bucko. But, you can't stumble into a college campus without leaving, with $1,200 of debt. Holy shit. It's like 1 month. It's like 1 month at your average college, right? For all your fees and fines and everything else. The department estimates that this reform will allow nearly all community college borrowers to be debt-free within 10 years. It's something. Okay, it's something. There's some really broke people who, really could, will benefit from this. All right. Now, I just wish it was bigger, right? If each student was a bank, this would be 120,000, right? The last one here, not charge borrowers with unpaid monthly interest so that unlike other existing income-driven repayment plans, no borrower's loan balance will grow as long as they make their monthly repayments, even when the monthly payment is zero because their income is low. Okay, that's something. Calling it the SAVE plan. Okay, it's not the worst. Not the worst. It's growing on me. Saving on valuable education. Okay, yeah. No one's going to be seeing it as saving. They're going to be seeing it as a handout, but okay. All right, so I just wanted to run that down. If you want to read this whole thing yourself, it's right here. Maybe Mr. Macaroni and Cheesehead wants to read this since he's such a fucking legal expert. Just wanted to show this leopards ate my face. I did put a lot of Reddit stuff in here because Twitter wants me to pay. You're not getting my Dogecoin, Elon. It's too precious. A majority of Republicans with student loan debt approved of Biden's student loan debt forgiveness plan, according to polling. It's just more proof that the right wing vote against their own self-interests, right? Now they're left with nothing thanks to the conservative Supreme Court, which they enabled. Example number 175, that Republicans aren't actually trying to win elections by getting the most votes. That is true. Like I said, before, this is a strategy to run out the clock on democracy, right? To run out the clock on accountability so that they can implement the changes, the systemic changes that the right wing wants to implement so that they no longer have to worry about a democratic challenge to their power. It's happening right in front of us. Oh, I'm being hyperbolic. Oh, everyone calls, every liberal calls everything they don't like a Nazi. Okay, dumbass. They're spitting in our face and taking our democracy away from us piece by piece. And what are the neoliberals doing about it? Where's that Voting Rights Act? We just gave up on that. That was like a hot bowl of soup handed to you out of the blue. Woohoo! Wow, that's hot. That's hot. And we're not picking it back up, are we? Where's the Voting Rights Act? Where's the second try? Nothing. Right? We see movement on student loans because that's going to affect the neoliberals perceive that's going to affect their elections. Oh, so now we care about it. That might affect us in our individual elections. That's what's going on. Voting Rights Act, no one really understands why we would care about that. So, and we're certainly not going to invest money in telling America why the Voting Rights Act was so fucking important. We'll do a little scaremongering. We'll point out that the fascists are, doing everything they can, gerrymandering and everything else, but we're not going to actually do anything substantive. So this is really good. A Reddit article here about from students. This is in our student loans. So I just thought I would get the opinion of some regular folks, some regular people. Maybe not regular people; they're Redditors. So we'll get the opinion of some people about this issue. So here's what this person posted. Well, it's over. I have to admit, I was getting cautiously optimistic, but the SCOTUS has killed the Biden-Harris debt relief. Here's some practical FAQs about the debt relief eligibility and implementation. So I think this was written before the president announced the SAVE plan. Yeah, okay, it works. The top comment, should have taken out a PPP loan to pay off my student loans. No, I mean, really? Right, and if you don't know what the hell's going on, if you're from Europe or something, you're like, what the fuck, a PPP loan? What is that, like a sex thing? No. During COVID, you had, as a business, you had the ability to take out a crazy chunk of cash, dude, like hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay your payroll, to keep your business afloat because we were in a global pandemic. These were loans. These were considered loans when they were handed out. But then Biden forgave all these PPP loans. It was like $1.7 trillion or something. So businesses got help, and they should have gotten help. I mean, what would have happened if some of these businesses, and I'm not talking about Walmart, you know what I mean? Mom and pop shops across the nation who needed help, they would have gone up. We already saw a lot of businesses go up even with PPP loans. But what do we see? It's the hypocrisy, right? Pull out all the stops, no hindrance whatsoever, handing out millions of dollars of cash to companies and businesses. Rightfully so, they needed help. And then they don't have to pay it back. Students, right, a very vulnerable class in America, students who need as much help as possible, who can make America better, right? Yeah, you thought I was going to say it. Right? They're being hindered. Let's put a big anchor on their neck of student debt. Let's hinder them. Right? The reason is that student debt benefits the oligarchy. Right? Turns you into a nice servile little worker right away. Well, I better do what my boss says. I got student loans to pay off. I want to get a house and I want to get a wife. I got to do all these. I better follow the rules and do exactly what I'm told, or else I'm not going to be able to get ahead. I got to be a good little worker bee. That's the mentality they're trying to enforce. It's more complicated than that, but it's a nice cherry on top of the shit sundae. Another person saying, I wish I was surprised. Just doing the top comments, The refund part is going to sting a lot of folks. Yeah, yep. Endless free money to people who didn't need it through PPP, but no student loan forgiveness. That's just sad. Well, like I said, this was before the SAVE program was announced, I believe. Wouldn't want Missouri or Molea to suffer. Wish I had lied and gotten a PPP loan. If you want to see something really funny, talk about PPP. Remember the PPP boys? So these guys thought that they were financial geniuses because they figured out that you could take PPP loans and not pay them back, and then they advertised it and did rap songs like how smart they are. And yeah, they were audited and arrested. Yeah, no, you're not Amazon Inc., buddy. You're not, the Hobby Lobby. He's like, You know? It's like, bruh. He can spit.
But I was just like him, but it wasn't long. I gotta have some. I think my cousin got a stealing prime. He like to grab some. Don't try to run off with that P and end up like that last fucker. Why he always got that ski mask on? Cause he gon' glam some. Soon as them niggas die, turn the bread man and get the hand rub. Feel good to help my mama pay some bills. I never had none. Do the money dance, my iPhone ring. I know that cat.
Them PPP boys, yo. Them PPP boys. Exactly, Siddhartha. All they had to do was not this. Top comment. That boy got hit. Everyone being like, yo, this is fire, this is fire, this is fire. Really funny. Last couple comments here, then we're moving on. Unreal that one case was standing and the other doesn't. Also, complete BS that they do this on the last day of announcements. Yeah, so this is the thing that the Supreme Court likes to do. They'll announce really bad things, you know, really shitty decisions on weekend holidays because the news cycle will be slower, and you know they you know, hopefully it'll be, you know, by the time Monday rolls along, the news will be talking about other things. So it's a strategic thing. It's not by accident. It's not. It's a strategic way because other presidents do this, politicians do this sometimes, right? They know that, okay, people, you know, they're getting Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. Some people. So by Tuesday, okay, they're working, they're turning on their podcasts, their websites, okay, they're figuring out what's going on, and all that negative news has been buried by hopefully something else, right? Just the constant news cycle has pushed that story lower to the bottom, and our loyal mainstream media doing its job, you know, talking about it and then not talking about it, right? There a lot of mainstream media about how they fool and trick people is in the things that they're not talking about. And this is one of those cases. They'll play along, right? Oh, we're good journalists. We covered this story. By Tuesday, this is what the news coverage will sound like on SCOTUS decision. This will be Tuesday on the SCOTUS decision after the you know, break. It's intentional. They're just on the last day of announcements so they can run off to one of their multiple vacation homes and hide from the public. The politicizations of the Supreme Court is apparent, and class warfare is destroying our country. Another person saying, quote unquote, pay your debts, says the geezers, expecting everyone else to fund their retirement and service the 30 trillion debt that they left behind. True. My wife has about 25K, and it's not like we can't pay it. It's just irritating to see this 2 weeks after paying my quarterly estimate. It would be mighty nice to see some of that money help my generation for a change, wouldn't it? Wouldn't? Yeah, exactly, Woke Patriot. Exactly. Woke Patriot's been around the block long enough. It you know, help me out here a little bit, because maybe a lot of people that aren't paying it, that aren't as plugged in as you or me, think that I'm talking shit rather than I don't know what I'm talking about. But they absolutely do release bad information strategically. Remember Bill Clinton killing Glass-Steagall on Christmas Day? You think that was an accident? The stars aligned, and I just had to go into the office to sign that paper on Christmas Day. Had no choice. Just so happened to be one of the most unpopular things in my administration. These people are slime bags. Moving on. Macron blames video game. Why is this here? This was some of my French news, but yeah. Macron blames video games for riots, calls on parents to help. So this was before the fires and the riots started in Paris. So I think he's very quickly changing his tune. It's really kind of funny, though. You know, it's kind of fucking funny, right? Pretty fucking funny. Macron over here. Video games. TikTok, right? Sounded like me when I was making fun of Macaroni Head. Fucking kids and their cell phones. Sotomayor slams the Supreme Court for finding that a Colorado web designer shouldn't be forced to make sites for same-sex couples. Quote, today is a sad day in American constitutional law and the lives of the LGBTQ people. So I'm just seeing if I can find a comment here that explains just how stupid this case was, how shopped this case was. So exactly. She doesn't even own a web design business. She is, so this is amazing. This is what went to the Supreme Court, and this is what the Supreme Court ruled on. Quote, she is preemptively suing Colorado because she believes that the state public accommodations mandate violates her right of free speech. Right? So the idea is that, well, one day I might want to design websites, and then one day a gay person will ask me to design a website that I don't want to design, and I shouldn't be doing that. And the fact that that situation might happen is what's preventing me from opening a business. Ergo, my rights are being violated. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, that's legit. That's legit. Moving on. But here are these two grifters who were, cherry picked by the right wing to do this specific thing. They look exactly as you'd expect them to. I'm not going to sit here and disparage them. I'd get kicked off Twitch. It's not like I can, say that they have a, hair that resembles a bowl of noodles. I will get kicked off Twitch if I were to do something like that. Supreme Court tossed case to these douchebags. I mean, Roblox, Alexander Taylor and Myra Brown submitted against student loan forgiveness due to lack of standing. Let's vote and make their faces known. How about no? How about we not see their faces? Yeah. Thanks so much. Closing that one. Already showed you that link. I must have doubled that up. A little bit, Woke Patriot, but I wouldn't dare disparage a person's looks, especially if that person looked like they were wearing delicious cheesy noodles on their head. John Roberts begs the liberal justices to stop. Oh, just stop, please. Stop criticizing the court. You stop. All right, I'll stop. The Chief Justice, so this is John Roberts, conservative liar who lied to get his way into the court, and the neoliberals let him do it. The Chief Justice doesn't like his conservative Supreme Court colleagues getting called out for judicial overreach. So, they're dishonest bad actors making the argument that merely criticizing the Supreme Court hurts its image, and therefore you shouldn't be allowed to do it. Boy, sounds like these guys should be in charge of the final word of the Constitution, huh? Sounds like they have a pretty good understanding of free speech, transparency, checks and balances, right? Stop criticizing us. It makes us look bad. And if we look bad, we don't have the legitimacy. It's not our fault that people think we're shit. It's yours for criticizing us and pointing it out. Classic bullshit. So here's what Biden has accomplished. It's here's the thing. It's not Biden's fault. He didn't select these people in the Supreme Court, right? Where? Oh shit. Thank you. Woo. Good call. Hold on. Let me fix this here. There we go. 1 sec. Get this over here. There we go. Woo. Good call. Thank you, Kem Goblin. But here's the thing. So has Joe Biden really been doing everything that he can? We're seeing him do something about using executive actions or whatever he's trying to do here to, implement something, give some relief to the students. But has he done that on all these issues? To recap, the Supreme Court overturned the right to an abortion, dismantled affirmative action, said all businesses can deny service to the LGBTQ plus community, and struck down President Biden's student forgiveness program all in 1 year. You bet Gen Z is pissed off. So I'm trying to say is that, okay, Biden maybe isn't directly responsible for the decisions of the court. Obviously, it needs to be that way. He will be blamed for that regardless, is what I'm trying to say. That's how politics works. Yeah, Zio Duke, that's why I was banned last time, because I dared to show a swastika on screen. And it was a swastika just like that one with like a red line through it, you know, like a no to fascism sign. No dice, no dice. I got kicked anyway. Bad actors will just say they were offended by seeing the swastika no matter what, in what context. It doesn't matter. But anyway, this will if you don't think this will affect the Joe Biden, like, oh, that's not fair. Do you think your voters fucking care about fairness? About what is fair and what isn't to Joe Biden? That's why it's pathetic that Joe Biden isn't using every tool in his toolbox, because he has an uphill battle to fight. He's going to be blamed for all of this. And, you know, when it comes to Roe v. Wade, the Democrats actually have a lot of legitimate blame to throw against them. You know, how many years, how many decades did the neoliberals campaign on Roe v. Wade? Campaign by saying, we're the ones that are going to make Roe v. Wade codified in a law. We're the ones that are going to protect this right. You know, we're going to make sure that these you know, people can't ever do it. And they kept it going. They never wanted to finish it because they wanted to continue. It was a winning campaign issue. They never wanted to fix it. Truly fix it, right? What was the first thing Nancy Pelosi and the DNC did when, after they had knowledge of the decision, they had like a month notice that the decision was happening? Remember that leak? What was their first thing that they do? They had a whole month to plan. Fundraising email. Oh, hey, now that we got our ass kicked and we lost Roe v. Wade for you, make sure you give us $20. So let's not get it twisted that there isn't, you know, that there's just no legitimate criticism to be made against Joe Biden, right? I love the. So this is the conservative view, I guess. Where are we? True unpopular opinion. Oh no. So the court was saying the Supreme Court is illegitimate because you don't like their rulings is one of the stupidest takes of a generation. This person sounds like a bootlicker to me. Court was legitimately appointed through the constitutional process. It was not legitimately appointed. The process being followed is compromised and weaponized and not effective. Just because we don't like the rulings doesn't make them illegitimate. True up to a point. If it was one thing, you know, if it was like, you know, a couple rulings, hey, we disagree on that, but that's not the case. It is a consistent misreading of precedent, right? It is an intentional, what's the word I'm looking for? Activist, right? It is an activist judge's radical interpretation that destroys legal precedent. And if you don't know what legal precedent is, look it up. It's important. It's relevant. But it is a radical interpretation, right? Of the Constitution, and it is a consistent ruling with this radical POV that a majority of Americans don't agree with. That does in fact make the court illegitimate, because the court is supposed to reflect the nature of the country. It's supposed to be ruling as if, like, you know, okay, ruling for the entire country, right? Because it's interpreting the Constitution that affects everybody. Was the court illegitimate when Roe v. Wade was argued? Brown versus Board of Education? No, it was not. It was balanced, and the judges that were present for these rulings were less of activists. I mean, there were still some there. I think Clarence Thomas was part of both of these. Maybe not Board of Education. Brown versus Board. He's not old. He's not that old. Maybe not even Roe v. Wade. That might have been before his time as well. But the court was more legitimate when these rulings were made. This generation's lack of respect for law is why they call it illegitimate. Whoa, boy, right there. There it is. We got our conservative bootlicker. Why don't you just follow the law, you thug and criminal? You should do what the law says, even if the laws, even if the judges and the people that are in charge are passing laws that that society disagrees with. Well, it's the law. There's a process for it. You either follow the law or you get fucking roadblocked. Classic conservative bootlicking mentality. Isn't dissent patriotic? You know, what if the American, our founding fathers decided to follow the law when forming our country, right? Well, the law at the time was to kiss the king's ass, right? There was a lot of laws, and there's so many examples in modern day of illegitimate laws, of laws that are not serving people, that are impeding freedoms, that were put in place by racist or ignorant people, and are enforced by racist and ignorant people, right? Going back to CRT, right? Why we need to do something about systemic racism. There doesn't have to be a quote unquote balance. So we don't want our judges to be balanced. Okay. There only has to be the interpretation of law according to the Constitution. Isn't that great? Our court isn't packed with activist right wingers. That's not even possible. The entire idea that we should have a court that's ideologically balanced is completely stupid. There's nothing wrong with our completely biased Supreme Court, because I'm on the right and they like me. The problem many are having is the court's ability to stay within the confines of the Constitution and not broaden its overreach as some courts in the past have. Black. Oof. What is that name? What is going on? The court must not represent the country. That's the legislator's job. Court must check the parliament's misuse of power. However, I agree that this current SCOTUS is clearly prejudiced towards a certain ideological position. Okay. For example, there's no constitutional right to abortion. It isn't written in the Constitution, and there has not been an amendment adding either. That's true, and that's, once again, the fault of the neoliberal Democrats. How many supermajorities did we give the neoliberals, right, in between Roe v. Wade and now? Instead, the court ruled it to be in states' hands as, again, it is not exclusively dictated in the Constitution. And yeah, and as we've seen, states, are unbiased. States enforce laws based off of, criteria that that has nothing to do with the color of your skin or your class status or nothing. States have shown to be avatars of equality. Hey Lenny, greetings from South Boston. It's your boy Lenny, #1 financial contributor to the stream. It's good to see you back, buddy. It's one of the most idiotic arguments people of this country have made in many generations, claiming that the court to be illegitimate because it isn't ruling the way they think it should. Gee, I wonder what this person thinks about adding more judges to the court. Oh, we can't do that. No, no. I wonder what this person thinks about filibustering. No, we can't do it. No. Don't get rid of the filibuster. No, don't you do that. What do you mean? It's within the law. It's all, there's a process. It's how you can't call that illegitimate. The Democrat, it's perfectly within the Democrats' power to add more seats to the court. We can't do that. We can't do that. No, 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 no. Precedent. Oh, now I care. Now I care. Now I care. Right. What I'm trying to point out is that this person has this opinion because it currently benefits his side. And it's pretty clear. The clearest example is right here. This generation's lack of respect for the law is why they call it illegitimate. Excuse me, the Zoomer and Alpha generation doesn't have respect for the law. One of the most boring generations I've ever seen in my life. You guys are more likely to fucking bust a nut over a SpongeBob meme than you are to commit a crime. Crime rates have never been lower. We've never been more distracted. Lack of respect for the law. Really? Quite frankly, there's a little too much respect for the law amongst younger generations. There's not enough critical thinking, not enough pushback. Quite frankly, this generation is cowed by the law. Lack of respect. They're terrified. Moving on. These two articles. Yeah. These two articles are not related to the fucking Supreme Court, but I wanted to point them out because it shows, you know, what I'm talking is that the ruling class, the moneyed class, the oligarchy has control of the Supreme Court. And this is what they want to turn society into. This is they don't like the direction society is going in, where Gen Z and millennials are going in. And even though they're dying, no offense, Lenny, you're the best guy ever, right? But even though they're older and they're closer to oblivion, they want to make changes that will, you know, last decades beyond their existence, and affect us, millennials, Zoomers, Alphas, long after these guys, the Boomers and the Gen Xers, are dead. So now what are they saying? Gen Zers are turning to radical rest, delusional thinking, and self-indulgence as they struggle to cope with late-stage capitalism. So this is just a whole fucking article, and if you want to read it, have a good laugh. I don't have time to fucking, you know, get into it. But it's the usual. Millennials are destroying, you know, you know, millennials aren't buying diamonds anymore because we can't fucking afford them. I mean, the goddamn crux of all this is that they're not giving millennials, Gen Z, and Generation Alpha are not being given the same opportunities as the people in our previous generations, right? Gen X, it started with Gen X, right? Obviously, the boomers got the biggest slice of the pie after World War II. And then it started to diminish with Generation X, right? The coolest name for a generation, by the way. Gen Z. Sounds so lame. But anyway, that's what this article is, right? Those tricky Gen Zers, those tricky millennials, you know, they're just not buying houses, and they're just not, they're quiet quitting or radical rest, right? They're falling into hopelessness and nihilism. Nihilism is somewhere mentioned in this fucking article, the good old N-word, right? Some young people have adopted a sort of financial nihilism. Oh, what does that mean? Financial nihilism. We're not earning enough money. We can't buy your shit. Real estate companies, consumer electronics companies, car manufacturers. Hello. We don't have enough money to afford these things. You're not giving it back. You're hoarding it. How many new billionaires has there, were created this year? Every year, more and more billionaires. They don't have to give the money back anymore. They just hoard it like weird hamsters. Inflation skyrocketing. Oh, guess we better cut those wages. Guess we better go after that middle class and those what do they call it? Wage inflation, right? A rising wage spiral. Oh, we got to stop paying you guys. That's the solution. Can't go after the rampant profiteering. Can't go after the piles and piles of money sitting in offshore accounts. Can't tax the rich. The only thing we can do to lower inflation is to cut your wages. Work in the register at, some fucking hot, fill in the blank, right? Oh, those are just jobs that teenagers work. Except hundreds of millions of fucking Americans depend on those jobs to feed their kids and put their kids through school and buy all your fucking products and buy, do all this shit. They need the goddamn money to do that. So it's like a whole, you remember that, that meme where the dog is like, he's got the Frisbee in his mouth and he's telling his owner, don't take, only throw, right? He doesn't want to let go of the Frisbee, but he wants his owner to throw it. And it's the same thing with these oligarchs. They want to hoard all the money, but they don't want to give us any of it to spend. And this leads into the next article, right? Well, okay, this is unsustainable. What, are they thinking about the future? Yeah, they are. They're thinking about the future. They know exactly what they're doing to society and what it could potentially mean for them. Because look at this. The super rich preppers planning to save themselves from the apocalypse that they create. Tech billionaires are buying up luxurious bunkers and hiding military security to survive a societal collapse they help create. But like everything they do, it has unintended consequences. This is a great article. Heavily recommend you read every single sentence. I loved it. It was great. Who's pushing for an increase in minimum wage? Who? The lefties, huh? You got a link, jackass? Hey, Mr. Trump, you want to play a game? You want to play a game, Mr. Trump? The lefties, huh? Sounds like this guy thinks Joe Biden's a progressive. A communist progressive. Trump, you have one more opportunity to answer yes or no. Are you a big enough man to play the game? So I just wanted to read the last bit of this article, and you're welcome. Hey, folks, all right. Oh, we got one. Here we go. America's favorite game show. It is here. Welcome, Federico Trump. 2. Are you a dumbass? Here we go, folks. Everyone say hi to Federico Trump. He wants Trump to take over America. I'm sure he wants Trump to be a dictator. I'm not putting words in your mouth, right? You would like Trump to rule America for the rest of your life? Is that correct? We're going to go ahead and throw it and see what grade he gets. Grade number 3. Grade number 3. Here we go. Science. Let's do a science question for Mr. Federico Trump. Science question for Mr. Federico Trump. All right, here we go. Oh, it's good to remind you, Mr. Federico Trump, that if you fail to answer this question correctly, you will be banned. All right, here we go. You have 10 seconds to answer this question. Why do I hear this twice? Oh, I know what's going on. Sorry. Cut that up. All right, here we go. Multiple choice. Federico Trump. When you straighten out your arm from a bent position, what muscle do you use? A flexor, a tricep, or a scapula? You have 5 more seconds. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What do we got? Federico Trump, what do you got? Bicep. He says bicep. Hey, we actually got a guess. You know what? Let's give him respect for actually answering. Most right-wingers just say MAGA 2024 and run away like scared bitches. Unfortunately, the answer is tricep. Tricep. So I'm afraid, Federico Trump, you are today's first dumbass. Everyone point at this man. Everyone point at this man. What a dumbass. What a dumbass. Thank you so much, Federico Trump, for playing America's favorite game show. Are you a dumbass? Where is my... Go away. Where is my... There it is. I gotta bring this one up closer. Boo! Boo this man! Boo! Our first dumbass of the day. It's so nice. Thank you. Thank you so much, Federico Trump. Bye-bye, dumbass. Bye-bye. Oh, it's so fun. All right, here we go. So just to finish out what I was saying here, the oligarchy know they're destroying society. They know how they're destroying society. They're not interested in changing their mentality. They're not interested in changing, anything. I mean, literally anything. They want their cake and they're going to eat it too. And just in case shit goes belly up, they got fancy little Fallout vaults to run to. Well, as we've seen in Fallout, nobody is ever able to get into those vaults. And then there's also lots of discussion about their own security turning on them. So then later in that discussion, there was some Davos meeting or something that they had. Later in that discussion, they started the conversations about shock collars and implanted explosives into their guards so that they could, have loyalty even in a post-apocalyptic situation where their money no longer means anything. So I just thought I'd warn you that the rich and the oligarchs, those that have captured government, we're not talking about just rich people sitting alone. These people have captured government and are telling our government what to do, okay? They know they're fucking you over. This isn't just greed and they just, oh, I'm a good guy. No, they're fully aware of how badly you're getting fucked. They don't care. They do not care, okay? They think that either they'll get to live a life of luxury until they die, right? Or they're Peter Thiel and they think they'll live forever. Or if shit really does hit the fan, I'll just go to my bazillion-dollar, mansion here, right? Okay. So there you go, folks. That's my U.S. fascist update, or it's my Supreme Court update. That's what I got for you today. I'm done talking about it. I got a couple more links, but these are quick. Let's do them real quick. Fuck it. Let's do it.
The U.S. Supreme Court has just altered the future of millions. The U.S. Supreme Court has just altered the future of millions of American students, upending decades of precedent, triggering heated and polarized reactions. In its 6-3 decision, the conservative majority declared affirmative action programs at colleges and universities unconstitutional, siding with advocates who argued giving priority to Black and Hispanic applicants discriminates against white and Asian students.
And as we saw in that Wall Street Journal breakdown of how affirmative action works, when you remove race from the calculation, the exact opposite happens. All of a sudden, admissions, it's all whitey, right? And Black people stop getting admitted, stops happening. Everything becomes less diverse. And to the racists that are saying that's happening because Black or brown people are stupider, fuck you. Fuck you forever. Because that is not the case.
With Chief Justice John Roberts writing, the student must be treated based on his or her experiences as an individual. Yeah, and
that's what they say, right? But the fact is that how these people are treated as individuals affects how they perform in college. And we have people based off their race with having very, very different individual experiences, okay, that affects how they perform in college throughout that college time and what kind of career they get if they even graduate.
Not on the basis of race.
The affirmative action policy definitely impacted me and people I know.
Calvin Yang is Asian Canadian and has been one of the loudest activists fighting for this change.
For now, policymakers should focus more on how to maintain that diversity without race-based admissions.
The justices opposed to the ruling delivered a...
I'm not going to recommend anything. I don't have an idea better than affirmative action, but they should do something about it. Okay, all right. You got nothing? Yeah, no ideas kicking around there, Slick? No?
Scathing dissent. Sonia Sotomayor wrote, "It will entrench racial segregation in higher education because racial inequality will persist so long as it is ignored." Educators are now figuring out what to do next.
I'm really most worried about, the youth and the students younger than us in high school and middle school and elementary school who might not get the same opportunity that I did.
Good afternoon, folks.
The president has ordered the Department of Education to find ways to abide by the law while still encouraging diversity.
We cannot let this decision be the last word.
Joe Biden didn't hide his frustration with the conservative majority on the court after delivering yet another decision that will bring about seismic change to American society.
Is this a rogue court?
This is not a normal court.
Another significant decision.
Okay, for people that are like, what? I'm falling asleep. I literally don't know what's going on, and I would really prefer you to show me your feet and show me your incredible rack. Let me just tell you, that's actually a pretty big statement. That's the United States president saying, yeah, I don't think this is a normal court, right? BlackRock, you're talking about the real estate empire that's destroying real estate prices across the United States. Yeah, it'd be nice if they talked about that. This is an important issue, though. All right, last little video here.
As Pride Month winds down, a decision by the U.S. Supreme Court is chipping away at LGBTQ protections.
This is a victory not just for me, but for all of us.
It's a victory for her and her business that she doesn't own, where she's a web designer, but she doesn't know how to make websites.
Us.
The court sided with Lori Smith, a Colorado web designer who argued the state's
She's not a web designer. She's never designed a website. This is a hypothetical. What if she started a company that designed websites, and then she had to, that like evil gay people asked her to, put butt sex on her screen. It's against her religion. Well, got to do something about that.
Discrimination law violated her right to free speech. She says her religious belief is that marriage is between a man and a woman, so she shouldn't be forced to make wedding websites for same-sex couples. Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote the opinion, stating the First Amendment envisions the United States as a rich and complex place where all persons are free to think and speak as they wish, not as the government demands.
I am incredibly grateful for the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling today that says that I'm free to create custom designs consistent with my beliefs without the fear of Colorado punishing me.
The court's 3 liberal justices disagreed with the ruling. Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote, the immediate symbolic effect of the decision is to mark gays and lesbians for second-class status.
Exactly.
She called it a sad day in America.
No. But it opens the door for discrimination of all kinds against anybody for arbitrary reasons. I mean, the cat's out of the bag. Pandora's box is out, dude. Oh, you're a tall white guy. You're not allowed in here or whatever, right? Oh, no. I really can't wait to see the right-wing Karens start flipping out, right? Like, what if Taylor Swift says, if I see anything having to do with any right-wing organization, you're kicked out of the concert. No refund. She doesn't have to give you a refund. Yeah, she put it on the door. You're not allowed to be a right-winger at my concert. Right-wingers not allowed. You can't walk around with a Trump t-shirt at a Taylor Swift concert. They'll kick you out. It's the cat's out of the bag, man. We can just everyone fucking each other, right? It could potentially lead to a fucking civil war. Right? Just a chainsaw cutting through America.
This ruling is radical and reckless, and it threatens to return Colorado and our country to a time when businesses regularly turn people away because of who they are.
At a time when states are enacting a wave of anti-LGBTQ laws, and the Supreme Court has voted along ideological lines on issues like abortion to affirmative action,
Hello, folks.
President Joe Biden says he fears this decision could lead to more discrimination. Republican presidential candidates are cheering it.
God bless the Supreme Court.
Critics say the court is being used as a weapon.
This is a pattern for this court in terms of taking rights away from marginalized communities.
Experts say the decision is narrow and won't apply to many businesses, but many worry it's another signal the country is moving in the wrong direction. Magda Gebrselassie, CBC News, Washington.
There you go. That's my Supreme Court update on the situation. I don't have time to be going through this mega thread on here, but I think I've given my opinion and views throughout this video. But I just, I usually like to leave these videos with what should we do right now? Like, what do we do moving forward? Supreme Court's a tough one because you need to do a multi-layered attack, right? You need to do politics, you got to vote, you got to participate. All I can tell you is what I say every single day, which is follow my 3-step program to create political change. Step 1, inform yourself. Step 2, join a progressive political organization in your area. And step 3, put in the work. It was hard work and activism that brought the Supreme Court where it is now. It was hard work and activism on the right wing that created the Supreme Court. And if we want to see it change, it will be hard work and activism that changes it back. I just hope democracy can last long enough for us to rectify the situation. You know, we might end up in a situation where the left spins its wheels to the point where democracy no longer accommodates us, and we can no longer make change through democracy, through democratic means. So I guess I'll leave it at that. Thank you. Moving on to Ukraine.